Let's talk about the bureaucracy. We'll start with the big picture of what bureaucracy is and how it works in our country, and we'll work our way down to more and more specific details and examples. So the bureaucracy. You're probably more familiar with the bureaucracy than you might know. Bureaucracy is the part of the government that handles the day-to-day work of government. So think about all of the people who work for the government in one way or another, but weren't elected. Instead, they were hired to do a job. They're government employees. They might work for an agency or another organization that performs some service for the government. These government employees are the kind of people that you're likely to encounter if you apply for government benefits, or apply for a license, or pay your taxes, or even mail a letter. So think about, when you're thinking about bureaucracy, think about all of the things in our country that perform some kind of government service and do it with the help and the staff of hired government workers. Like everything else in our country, our bureaucracy is divided down by levels. We have a national level of bureaucracy, a state level of bureaucracy, and a local level of bureaucracy. And they all perform a similar type of task, but they do it, of course, at a different level and a different scope and for different reasons. So the national level of bureaucracy would include things like the cabinet departments or the FBI. They are assisting the president with carrying out national laws. State level bureaucracy, think about the DMV or the Department of Education for Virginia. These are organizations that assist state executives like governors to do their job. And we even have local bureaucracy. A city that you might live in or a county might have a zoning board, water or sewer providers. These are organizations that assist the local government in carrying out the day-to-day work that's required to keep that locality running. Bureaucracies interact with policy in three ways. They could be the type of bureaucracy that develops policy. They could be the type of bureaucracy that creates policy, or the type of bureaucracy that enforces policy. So the portions of the bureaucracy that are responsible for developing policy are organizations that assist or may even do the entire work of coming up with the ideas for how a law is going to be shaped. There are specific parts of the bureaucracy that assist Congress in creating the policy, drafting the bills and the laws. They might provide Congress with information or facts, or they might do research on how a law or a particular piece of policy might affect the country, just to give Congress more information when it comes to them designing their laws. And then the type of the bureaucracy, the area of the bureaucracy that you are probably going to be most familiar with in terms of your day-to-day interaction is the type of bureaucracy that enforces policy. And these are the government employees that were mentioned earlier, who actually do something tangible in our real lives to make sure that a law is carried out. Think about the fact that the person on the other side of the counter from you at the DMV when you're getting your driver's license is really there to enforce the law. They're there to make sure that you've met all the requirements to be a licensed driver, and it's their job to enforce that area of our law. If you're talking about specific parts of the bureaucracy, particularly the national level, there's a couple of areas that you need to be familiar with. And the first is the President's Cabinet. The President has a collection of what's referred to as executive agencies that all advise the President on a different area. Think Secretary of Treasury or Secretary of Defense. These groups have a specific purpose, a specific policy area that they focus on, that they work within, and that they advise the President on when it comes to making decisions in that area. Secretary of State, for example, is an important member of the President's Cabinet and is the President's one of the president's primary advisors on how the president should shape foreign policy or dealing with other countries. Another area of the bureaucracy are actually two types of federal agencies. You have a staff agency and a line agency. And the difference between the two is very simple. A staff agency, think of these agencies as the agencies that sort of exist to be the staff of the president. They're there to provide direct support to the president and to keep the president and the White House essentially running in terms of day-to-day operation of our country. A line agency is an agency that's given a specific purpose or a specific goal that they meet. So protecting the environment might be an example of a government goal that is handled or met by a specific line agency, the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency. And these are just a couple of examples. There's plenty more staff agencies and line agencies out there that perform these tasks. Independent agency is the area of our government that we call the civil service. This can be a bureaucratic agency or something that's run like a corporation or a business that's designed to handle a specific task. The post office is a really good example of this. The post office is a business. They are operated through the government and, of course, as you well know, provide mailing services for the entire country. Good example of an independent agency. So let's talk about what the bureaucracy does to actually help or assist the president. Some really good examples of this include the Executive Office of President, the National Security Council, and the Office of Management and Budget. Let's handle each one of those in turn. So the EOP, or the Executive Office of President, is the part of our bureaucracy that works most closely with the president. So think about all of the people that a president would need to help them handle day-to-day work. Everything from setting up the president's schedule, to interacting with the media, to providing the president with facts, research, information, communication with other important people, the staffers, the workers, the assistants that the president chooses and hires in this agency are giving the president day-to-day help. The National Security Council is another group, a smaller group, of leaders and advisors that assist the president in a very specific way. Think about what the name of the organization refers to, the National Security Council. This is a group of advisors that assist the president in handling matters that deal with our national security. So, for example, are there threats to the defense of the country out there that the president needs to be aware of, that the country needs to address? Well, the President's National Security Council is an assembly of people who might have some expertise in how to either head off these problems before they happen or deal with them if they do. So if we get attacked or if we're threatened or endangered in any way, the President has a solid team of advisors providing him with information and help to deal with whatever situation might arise. So you're going to see people like the Vice President, the Secretary of Defense, different other military leaders, people who are involved in Homeland Security, bureaucracy members along those lines that have a special focus on national security. And likewise, the Office of Management and Budget has a pretty obvious name. Their job is to help the President prepare the budget or the spending plan that the country is going to operate under for a given stretch of time. The President has an entire agency devoted to doing research and work on what the country needs to do and address when it comes to raising and spending its money. And the President is instrumental in shaping how the government in a given year or another stretch of time will take in and spend out money, and the President uses this Office of Management and Budget, or OMB, to assist him in coming up with that plan.